Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing quite an unpopular film, and unfortunately, not in the so bad it's good sense. I understand that I'm quite late to this one, but I thought I might as well throw my 2 cents in, and it would be interesting to review such a controversial film. And as they say, better late than never. With that being said, on with the review. I first discovered this film during the original outburst about its release, as I tend to enjoy watching film reviews. That's actually why I started this channel. From what I gathered from these reviews, the film was an extremely poor representation of people who have autism. This gave me an expectation that the film would be really cringy to watch, and unfortunately, I was far from wrong in my judgment. I won't go super into depth into the events of this film, unless it is relevant to my commentary, or adds any additional context to the film, as there are already so many videos about this. If you are interested in any additional commentary or other opinions about this film, I have linked other reviews by both people with and without autism in the description down below. The film opens with a musical number before we are introduced to the titular character, Music, an autistic girl who is being taken care of by her grandmother before she goes out to do some chores. While she is out, Music's grandmother collapses and is presumed to have died. This causes Music to panic, and she is placed into her newly sober ex-drug dealer half-sister's care, who is called Zhu. Zhu is not used to taking care of Music and does not stick to her routine, causing Music to have a complete meltdown. Their neighbour Ibo hears the noise coming from the apartment, and this is one of the more controversial and offensive scenes in the film. You can skip to this timestamp if this makes you uncomfortable. He crushes her to calm her down and braids her hair to comfort her. He tells Zhu that he is always nearby if she needs him. Ibo takes Music, along with Zhu, to her daily walk, and Ibo explains his knowledge about Music's autism.
In Ghana, my younger brother was the same way. He liked to be held to feel safe. So.
Where's he now?
He is dead now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I find this pretty cliché, and while it was good to have an explanation for his knowledge, I wish they went with something else. There's this bizarre interaction between Zhu and her drug dealer, and it's so awkward. I hate it so much. At the park, Music gets overstimulated due to the amount of noise, and you can guess what happens next. There are some more interpersonal interactions between Zhu and Ibo, and he reveals his ex-wife left him for his brother, and Zhu reveals she almost attempted suicide. Sia has a cameo with this narcissistic celebrity character, and it really did not come across well considering the backlash and her attitude in interviews about the film. She and Zhu talk about drug dealing and stuff, but at the park, Music gets stung by a bee which she is allergic to, and she is hospitalized. Ibo decides to leave Zhu and Music alone, due to an incident resulting in Zhu's injury while she was intoxicated. After a montage, Zhu takes Music to an adoption center, but does not feel like she can go through with putting Music up for adoption. Ibo goes to his brother's wedding, and Zhu shows up to discuss her sobriety during his speech, and of course, they get together and kiss. I get that his brother is a bit of a prick for running off with his wife, but this is so rude to do at a wedding. They then sing a song with Music on vocals, and it's meant to be really touching and stuff. Ibo, Zhu, and Music then come together as a family, and it's really cliché and cheesy. I really did not enjoy this film. In terms of filmmaking, it wasn't very pleasant to watch. There are a lot of clichés and parts that I feel were just added for drama and didn't add much to the main plot, apart from some character building for Ibo. Ibo being the mystical guide in this film is also a tired cliché that has been heavily criticised in reviews of this film. There is a subplot about this boy named Felix who is pressured to do boxing by his father and is taught by Ebo. He is killed by his father accidentally when he tries to intercept between his parents during an altercation. This and the other subplot of Ebo having AIDS were clearly attempts at pulling at the audience's heartstrings, but it came across as very superficial and unnecessary. This and the fact that a film titled Music focused more on these subplots and the titular character's family than her. This also makes the last scene where she sings really insincere. What journey has she gone on to warrant this scene? Character-wise, she's barely in the film. Instead of the subplots, there should have been more parts dedicated to music where she wasn't just used as a plot device. The musical aspect of the film is pretty bad as well, and I didn't really mention much about it during my commentary because it doesn't really add anything and these scenes are actually quite disruptive for the flow of the film. This could be explained by the fact that the film wasn't even originally intended to be a musical, as Sia said in an interview with Variety magazine.
Then it was purely a narrative at that point because I really wanted to be seen as a director. Mm-hmm. And it was like my ego really wanted to be seen as like I'm a good director. And then everybody said, you're a fucking idiot if you don't make this a musical. It's like you've got a blank Scrabble ship and you're not using it. You're an idiot. And so, again, I needed to be spoken to like that. And so I turned it into a musical, and then we got loads more money. And I was like, oh my God, she doesn't sound like every other white actress, like who was trained at like in Broadway singing, which I hate, and I hate musicals.
Unlike Sia, I do like some musicals, but the style of music also just wasn't for me. The vocalists are very talented though. Another issue that was brought up was despite Sia saying this film was for autistic people,
we're trying to show love for all of the caregivers and for all of the people on the autism spectrum, that this movie is for them. And if we can try and keep our egos out of it, that would be great. If you have a problem, please come to me.
These musical sequences can be highly disturbing sensory-wise. However, the scene I found the most uncomfortable to watch was actually the bee sting scene, because the music and cinematography made it very disorientating. Now for the large topic at hand, the representation of autism in the film. My opinion on this may be quite contentious, but please remember I am always open to discussing other opinions. I don't have a problem with someone who isn't autistic playing an autistic character in theory. Good representation comes from good acting, good writing, and good direction. This film had none of those. If someone who isn't autistic makes or plays a specific kind of autistic character that they had done adequate research on, or spent a lot of time with people like the character, such as a relative for example, I don't see as much of an issue with this. This doesn't really apply to someone with as severe autism as music, and I agree with the people who say it comes across as being mocking, even if that wasn't the intention. Of course, in general the most qualified person would be someone autistic who is comfortable with this kind of job, because they can accurately portray something that is already a part of their life. My point is, the poor autism representation in this film is not necessarily caused by music being played by a neurotypical actress, Maddie Ziegler. It would be awful, and I'd say even worse if she was played by an actress who has autism, as it would be like someone taking a job that ridicules them. The writing is shit, and this film needs more than a qualified actor to save it. Then there are the terrible restraining scenes that became very infamous due to the fact that the technique used in the film has killed multiple people with autism. According to a couple articles by Rolling Stone magazine, Sia apologized for these scenes, but people still hate her film. They should have never been in it to begin with, at least not in a positive light. On the other hand, I found a review on IMDb from an autistic person who came to this film's defense. Pause to read. They do criticize the film for getting things wrong about autism, and I do agree with some points they've made. like them disliking the us versus them mentality that some people seem to have in general. The only thing I disagree with is using the fact that neurotypical actors have always played and will keep playing autistic characters as a point. Accurate representation in media is important to people, and a lot of people do not think critically about the media they consume, and so will take portrayals like this at face value, especially with something as already misunderstood as autism. Overall, I think this film was just badly made all around, regardless of the creator's intentions, and a story like this belongs in the hands of somebody who knows what they're doing. At the end of it all, I now wish that of all the people named music, fictional or otherwise, I should have just made a video on Michael Paradinas instead. Well, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and or leave any thoughts you may have in the comments down below. And as always, thanks for watching.